proposing changes to Social Security. And just to get us started, I'm going to start with a little clip here from the Majority Report with Sam Seder, and they're going to go over this Obama talking about this on the stump.
Comment on this first, because we got a couple of things to say about this. But understand that Democrats came to this a little bit late. The leaders in the Republican Party, both in the House and in the Senate, have talked about their plan to use the debt ceiling, which is coming up, I don't know, maybe in December, is it? Maybe? Or use the debt ceiling as a way to insist that we cut Social Security and Medicare in the form of the age in which you're eligible to get it. And maybe also just some other back-end cuts on cost of living increases, which is a cut, right? I mean, you're working all your life. You anticipate that you can retire early, get a little bit less of a payout at age 62, let's say, or maybe you're going to wait until 65, you get your full payout. Maybe you're going to wait till you're 67, get a little bump on it. Whatever it is, they want to push those ages higher, and it's a cut. And this is something they can do with Joe Biden in office, because the debt ceiling would be catastrophic if it is not raised, because we've already spent the money.
And in fact, they would prefer to do it with Joe Biden in office, frankly, because then if it was a Republican president, they wouldn't have to own it.
100%. Yes, great point. And here is Barack Obama. Finally, somebody's out there talking about it.
Uh-oh. So. You don't need a tax break. But no, he fought for this. And then his adult children bought not one, not two, but 3 private planes. Because apparently carpooling was not an option.
Oh, pause it. He's talking about Ron Johnson here. We should be clear. And this is good. This is important. They need to get that vote out in Wisconsin.
On a plane, then you don't need a tax break. But no, he fought for this. And then his adult children bought not one, not two, but 3 private planes. Because apparently carpooling was not an option. Now, I mean,
to be honest, it is more convenient to have 3 than 1.
Meanwhile, Senator Johnson voted to raise the retirement age to 70. Supported a plan that would put Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block every single year. Each year you'd have to vote to renew this thing. I mean, think about it, because Washington works so well. You want your Social Security and Medicare reliant on Congress every year. He's called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Said that it's candy that the left is giving away. The point is, some of you here are on Social Security. Some of your parents are on Social Security. Some of your grandparents are on Social Security. You know why they have Social Security? Because they worked for it. They worked hard jobs for it. They have chapped hands for it.
So I just want to do that part of it. I don't want to get too in the weeds with that. But here's the good point. So Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, he proposed it back 2014 or 2015, cutting Social Security. So the way his proposal initially back then was he wanted to move the minimum retirement age up to 70. Right?
Okay, well, Duncan, right now, if people don't take their Social Security until they're 70, they basically get a bump, right? They end up, that's like a bonus. They get a higher check, right? So that would just be the threshold for the normal check.
So right now, you can take your Social Security at 62. There are limitations to that. You can take it at full retirement age. If you're born after 1960, that's 67 years old. Right? So anybody over 62 or 62 or younger, right? Can retire full at 67, and that way you get your full amount. At 62, you get a reduced amount. If you wait till 70, you get an inflated amount. Under Johnson's plan, 70 would be the middle age that you would do it.
The full retirement
age. But It's not clear that there would be an earlier or later option. And even then, they would reduce the amount. by reducing the amount that it would grow each year, what they call the COLA, right? The cost of living adjustment. So they'd reduce that. They reduced it a little bit more.
Comes two reductions, right? The cost of living increase becomes problematic, but then also there becomes the issue of if you delay, you don't get the percentage increase to your check, because
Not
right
necessary.
now there's a benefit for people deciding to delay taking it
Right.
because they get a check, but that seems like
Right.
at least it's revealed whether it's in the cards or not.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't want to get too into the weeds with what Social Security is, because we don't have that kind of time today for this. But we can do another video where we get into what all that looks like. But then the thing to understand is the idea was to cut the amount people would get and to make it you couldn't get it till you're older, right? This new plan that they have adds an extra feature where if they use the debt ceiling, so essentially every year you have to vote to raise the debt, right? Now this is money we've already basically borrowed as the government, right? So the government owes this money. So it used to be that the debt ceiling was a pro forma thing. It'd just be raised and we'd just pay the debt. And that's part of what makes us so powerful as a country is we're the only country in the world that's never failed to pay a debt on time. That's why our money is so valuable. That's why everything's tacked to the US dollar, right? If you delay that, it downgrades the value of the US dollar. And it can damage world currencies because now there isn't a reliable currency to tack to, right? So this is incredibly dangerous to do. So the idea is, well, as the Republicans, we're going to threaten to do that if we take the House, unless we get some concessions. Now, when Obama was president, they did do that before, and that was when it first happened. I think it was like 2012 or 13 was the first time they really did it. And I don't know if you guys remember that. You can look it up. They shut down the government for like a week or 2 weeks. And it was, yeah. And Obama had Biden go past the Speaker of the House, who was Harry Reid at the time, or I think it was the minority speaker. And they went to Mitch McConnell and said, okay, we'll agree to reduce Social Security for the debt ceiling. And Mitch McConnell turned it down, not because he didn't want to do it, but because he couldn't be seen as agreeing with Obama on anything. So we lucked out because he was so afraid of the Tea Party at the time, which are now the MAGA nutbags, that if, I can't agree with the first black president because then I'll lose all my voters in, rural Kentucky, right? So even though it's something he really wanted and he could blame it on Obama, he couldn't take it at the time. So we dodged a bullet. Now they're saying since Biden did that back then, they were kind of making the point that he might do that now. Now he's already said he's not going to, so hopefully he sticks to that. But we'll see how that goes. Now, I do like that, stand-up comedy Obama's kind of coming back. Just want to see him like up there on stage. What about airplane food? What's up with that? Anything else? Anyways. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I love Obama. I really do. So I